Did y'all watch last night's debate?
I did.
You did? Brandon?
I did.
You as well? Sleepy. Okay. Well, compared to the presidential debate, you're right.
I watched it.
That's good, because last night was very much more civil, but there were still some fiery moments between the candidates. So we put together a little compilation for you. Go ahead and take a look.
On January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They knew and they covered it up. The American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
The fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. Is probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you.
Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed?
Ooh! But of course there was this one moment that just really bugged me. Or should I say 2 whole minutes, where an unexpected guest stole the show. As you can see, a fly landed on Vice President Mike Pence's head and stayed there for, yes, a full 2 minutes, all while he continued to talk. The Biden campaign seized on the opportunity, tweeting out this picture of Joe Biden holding a fly swatter, asking folks to donate $5 to make his campaign fly. The Biden campaign is also sold out of this Truth Not Flies fly swatter. But DBL Nation, funny jokes, got it. Let's put the fly jokes aside for a second. We really want to know what you think. Who won last night's debate? Was it Kamala Harris or Mike Pence? So what we always do is have you go to dblvote.com to weigh in. What was your first take, Jeff? Who do you think won?
Well, the funny part is the fly one. Because that's all people write on social media.
Yes.
We're talking about it. Every news outlet's talking about it. And there's really important issues on the table, and America's like, Harold, what's a filibuster? Heck, if I know, there's a fly in that man's head. That's America, okay? That's where we're at right now as America.
Okay.
That aside, because the fly thing is not of any importance whatsoever, I thought it was great, okay? I thought the debate was great. I thought they both did great. I thought Mike Pence did an excellent job. That's not really the reviews I'm seeing, but I know how hard it is to stand up from Donald Trump being on this show, so I know what an excellent job he did doing his part to stand up for his president. So I applaud him from that. I think Kamala Harris did a great job making her points. I thought being civil with each other was so much more communicative.
Yeah, that was great. Well said.
But I mean, I enjoyed the debate. I almost wish these two were our presidential candidates because I could listen, I could hear, they were civil with each other. Mike Pence was very complimentary to Kamala Harris, which I thought was something that is like, what was that, from the 70s?
Yeah, remember that?
You can't say, how are you, nice to meet you anymore.
Right.
So, I don't know, I did enjoy it, Tori.
I thought it was 100% better than the other one. I thought it was civil. Lindsay and I had an Instagram Live, our co-host, afterwards, and we both thought it was way better. I agree, Mike Pence kept his own. He's a good debater. The main thing I heard about Mike Pence was that he kept pivoting. He never answered any question. And if you don't know about Mike Pence, he's a ballerina about pivoting. You know that scene in Friends where they're like, pivot? That's Mike Pence, just so you know. He's the best at it. I thought Kamala saying, I'm speaking, was the moment. And I think, Brandon, I wanted to know your take on that and your take on the whole thing. But I think I'm speaking spoke for a lot of marginalized people everywhere, as you've interrupted me yet again. Go ahead.
Well, when it comes to the I'm speaking part, I understand the message, the deeper message and within that, Tori, because you see a lot of women saying, like, this is how women feel at the workplace when they're trying to say something, but their male counterpart just jumps in. But at the same time, it's a debate. You have 2 minutes to say what you have to say, and it may take an extra 15 seconds. It's just like when we're on this show and we want to go to commercial, we're still hitting a point, a valid point. You don't want to just end it there and go straight to commercial. So I see that on both sides. But as of the debate, I know I was joking around and I did the whole, I was nodding off. You know, this country, we've gotten so accustomed and so used to politics being some sort of WWE wrestling match that when we actually saw policy and civility, that it was boring to us. But at the same time, Tori and Jeff, I want to ask you as well, because you were saying how Vice President Pence kind of dodged some questions. So did Senator Kamala Harris. I don't think that should be allowed during a debate anymore.
That's
I don't think
Washington,
I think you
D.C.
should take on
That's
these
Washington,
tough questions.
D.C. You will always have people not answer the questions and say nothing.
And they were both pros at it.
And they were fantastic
They both did it, to Brandon's point, and they both dodged them very politically.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can I ask one question real fast that I just don't understand?
Yeah.
Why do we have to put a time limit on these debates? Why do they only have 2 minutes? I want to hear everything they have to say as well as their counterpoints. We let football run into triple overtime and we cancel everything past that. If an NBA game goes long, we go an hour long. This is the rest of our country. This is our country for 4 more years. We can't give them a half hour, an hour, 2 hours. Let them go all night. I don't understand.
You're making my heart so full, but what you just—
But why do you have to put—
Because of priorities.
So what do you think about packing the court? Sorry, we're out of time. What do you mean we're out of time?
Because what does America prioritize? Football, sports, the moneymakers. Politics isn't a primetime getter. It just has turned into a circus, so now we want more. But to hear you say you want more politics, like, my heart has grown 5 times bigger.
I didn't even know what a Democrat or Republican was 5 years ago.
Tori,
I didn't even know. I was like, I don't care who it is.
I love this. Go ahead, Brandon. I love that. Go ahead, Brandon.
Love you.
I don't think he's saying he wants more politics. I think he's saying he wants more policy, more transparency. Because I understand what you're saying about football going on the overtime, but that's just a silly game. This is something that affects millions and hundreds of millions of Americans. So I'm with Jeff on this, to where it's like, look, if I'm a single issue voter and I really want to hear this person talk about gun control or police reform, I don't want that to get cut off, because my vote depends on what this person is saying or how they're going to run the policy,
well, that's from,
or how this person is going to run the country.
From your lips to advertisers' ears. That's what
How proud of you are of me and Brandon right now?
I just can't. I'm cavelling. If you don't know what that means, it's like I can't even with emotion. All right, let's get some comments from all of you, all across the board. Some of you wrote in a lot to me and Lindsay that Mike Pence didn't actually physically look well, that he had sort of a pink eye that was trending on Twitter, that the New England Science of Medical Journal said that's part of a symptom of COVID. And I'm not saying anything, but I wanted to bring that up as something that a lot of you wrote in. Kate from Twitter says, still think we need a mute button. Gina from Twitter says, let's be fair, Kamala and Pence both had strong moments. At least they acted like adults. I totally agree. I didn't want to— Yeah. Mindy says, at the end of the day, we're voting for president, not VP. That was very clear, and that was even a question about both of you might have to take over. And Frank said, Pence knocked it out of the park. Just because you're a man and say something doesn't automatically make it lecturing or mansplaining. And I think he did hold his own when he said, you can have your right to the your time, but not the facts. And he played that respectfully.
How about, I know we want to get to one more story, but we're talking about now visuals, right? People want to talk about the fly in the head, his eye. What about Kamala's visuals, right? Because a lot of people don't know a lot about politics, me included, and her eye rolling, her grinning, a lot of feedback on the internet was, I don't like that. I don't like the way she's dismissing Mike Pence, and he was very civil about that. So if you want to talk visuals, how do you think she did in that department? Because a lot of people see it as a strong woman, a lot of people see it as dismissive.
And a lot of people then compared, which happens when you get to politics, it's a ping pong game, Trump doing a lot of these kind of face rolls the whole time. So it happens on both. It was a decision, it was a strategy, and I thought it felt like a mom seriously looking at a child. I thought it was effective. Let's see what the audience thinks. 63% of you think Kamala won, and 37%, again, that's the base, the 38%. All right, well, let's move on to the next presidential debate. It will now be virtual. That's according to the Commission on Presidential Debates.